One thing that seems to amaze me about our country is how ignorant we are when it comes to the full context of a conversation or a excerpt of what someone may say in accordance to trying to prove a point. Um, I have to touch on the Stephen A. Smith topic because it's really annoying to me that people like to twist and prod and character assassinate people because they like to flip or spin whatever someone says that they disagree with. So in Stephen A. Smith's long diatribe on Friday, he used the words elements of provocation, which was just a long way of saying, well, don't instigate yourself into a domestic dispute situation. Basically, that's what he should have said. I think Stephen A. Smith, the way he tried to dance around the subject, kind of got himself into trouble. When he should have just stripped away all the big words, all the nuance, adjectives, and just came to people clean and say, look, women, you can't physically assault men and not expect every man to walk away and be the bigger person. See, being the bigger person starts with everybody, not just the male. It starts with the woman too. And that's basically that's what I took from what Stephen A. Smith was saying. Stephen A. Smith's elements of provocation, diatribe, or statement, or rant, or whatever you want to call it, pissed off Michelle Beadle, the host of Sports Nation. So once she heard this, she lashed back out at Stephen A. Smith over Twitter, of course. That's how we handle things now as adults. She goes, so, I was just forced to watch this morning's First Take. A, I'll never feel clean again. B, I'm now aware that I can provoke my own beating. She continues. She goes, I'm thinking about wearing a miniskirt this weekend. I'd hate to think what I'd be asking for by doing so at Stephen A. Smith. Hashtag don't provoke. Oh, there's more. She goes, violence isn't the victim's issue. It's the abusers. To insinuate otherwise is irresponsible and disgusting. Walk away. To understand a little backstory with Michelle Beadle and why she's so infuriated about what Stephen A. Smith said. She herself was a victim of being in a abusive relationship. So, of course, her perspective of the whole conversation on Friday is going to be a little different. Of course, she's going to be a little jaded, and I'm not faulting her for that reason. What I am faulting her for is the way she attacked Stephen A. Smith, a colleague of hers, by the way. I mean, they work at ESPN. I think she should have handled it better. I think what she did, her approach, her grandstanding approach, was a little tasteless in my opinion. I think she could have pulled Stephen A. Smith to the side first and asked him and said, hey, I don't like how you came off. I want some clarification of what you meant by elements of provocation, and, so I can have a clarification of it and so I can feel good because, my situation and how I feel about domestic violence as a whole. But instead, what she did was she made it a spectacle. Instead of her saying, hey, I talked to him privately, we came to this conclusion, no matter what, ... this is how I feel. I would have been more comfortable with that. The narrative we constantly hear in our country is if a woman assaults you, you being the man, you should walk away. No. Ignore her poor judgment. No. Ignore circumstances. No. Ignore why it happened or whatever. Ignore all of these things. She's not capable of thinking maturely in a situation. Walk away. Let her assault you. You're a man. This is the constant talking points that we've heard throughout our lives. And it's wrong. It's wrong for a man to hit a woman. And it's wrong for a woman to hit a man. And we don't hear that side of the story. We don't get that dialogue in this country at all. And it's disgusting, Michelle Beadle. That's disgusting. And that is irresponsible, as you said in your tweet. Women are abusive as well. And a lot of them feel as if they can abuse you, with immunity. Because nobody's going to say anything about it. And 9 times out of 10, that's the right approach because nobody does say anything about it. The one thing Stephen A. Smith went wrong in, besides miscommunicating his message, was that when you attack a strong issue like domestic violence, especially when a man hits a woman, you can't come half-assed with it. You got to come full throttle with your facts and your statistics. So I pulled up this information from an article written by the domestic violence statistics.org. They have an article called Men, the Overlooked Victims of Domestic Violence. And they cite some pretty interesting findings in this article. Things that I've been wondering and things that I've talked privately to my peers about as far as bringing up the concerns I had as far as my personal beliefs and what I've gone through personally throughout my life and what I've seen personally throughout my life. So the CDC had did a survey back in 2010 talking about domestic violence toward men. In their findings, they found that 40% of the victims of severe physical domestic violence are men. So this study was taken back in 2010, a few years ago, and it was by the CDC, which is, the guys who handle all the viruses like the Ebola viruses and all the nasty diseases that can wipe out a nation. They conducted this survey, so they're very credible. So they, in their own survey, has sourced that 40% of victims in these type of situations are men. Again, something our country never talks about. It's a taboo issue. The article also sourced that men are more likely to be victims of attacks with a deadly weapon. 63%. That is incredible. Again, undocumented, untalked about. No one's bringing it up. Other piece from the article that really sums up this whole issue that we have in this country. The article says, despite many findings that show almost equal amounts of abuse perpetrated against men and women, the media and government focus the most attention on the female victims of domestic violence, which is true, and men are largely silent on the issue because of the perception that men are physically stronger and should be able to subdue a female attacker easily. So this is why we have pretty much given women a pass when it comes to them assaulting men. Because the public perception, or the perception perceived by people, is that since you're a man, you should, and you're bigger or you may be stronger, you should subdue a woman and you should be the bigger person. Or as Michelle Beadle would say, you should walk away.